Mired in conflict since 2014, Yemen has been described as the worst humanitarian crisis in the world, and it looks like the children of the country are the worst affected. The country is facing unprecedented high level of malnutrition among children, as the pandemic and the shortfalls in aid funding worsen the crisis. We tell you more.
These 3-month-old Yemeni twins weigh only 2 kilograms. Suffering from malnutrition, they cry as their mother struggles to feed them.
Milk is expensive. I couldn't afford the cost of milk, so I took them to a medical center where they told me that they had to stay there to be treated. But I couldn't afford the cost. No one helped me in that medical center. I used to feed them with milk we used for tea, which caused their malnutrition. The price of milk is expensive. It costs 5,000 Yemeni rials, which is about $9. I don't have a job to buy milk for them.
The condition of the twins has become acute and will probably become another statistic without proper treatment. They are among the millions of starving children across Yemen, a country where a child dies every 10 minutes.
More than 45% of children under 5 years of age are malnourished. More than 2.5 million children are malnourished, including 500,000 suffering from acute malnutrition, which means if they don't get urgent care, they will die. A child like this dies every 10 minutes.
Across the war-torn country, child malnutrition is at a record high, and the numbers keep soaring every day. In Yemen's children's wards, the evidence of the crisis is clear. Skeletal youngsters crying weakly as their anxious families hover over them. In South Yemen, over 500,000 cases of acute malnutrition among children under 5 were recorded. While in the north, the results of a survey currently underway are expected to be equally concerning. A 15.5% increase in severe malnutrition has left at least 98,000 at high risk of dying. While parents say they are tired of burying their children, doctors are falling short of funds and resources to deal with this growing crisis.
The situation is really catastrophic in Taiz. What can I say except that it is very bad, because the cases we receive are so many, and unfortunately we cannot welcome them in this small service. We hope that there will be other organizations or another permanent source that will support us with a large building to provide equipment for intensive care, because we actually receive very difficult cases that require intensive care.
Many parents are even scared to bring their children to the hospitals, fearing that their youngsters may contract the coronavirus. Yemen has been gripped by war since 2014. The fight between Saudi-led coalition and the Houthi rebels has destroyed the country's healthcare system. The siege and bombardment of cities has wrecked hospitals, ambulances, and even medical stores. Meanwhile, shortfalls in aid funding worsen the humanitarian crisis. In September, the United Nations said that critical aid had been cut at 300 health centers. Over a third of United Nations' major humanitarian programs have been reduced or shut down entirely. Only $1.4 billion of the $3.2 billion needed to fund Yemen aid projects was received by mid-October. While the twins have been saved by urgent treatment, that is not the story for most of the country's starving children. With a shortage of medicines and dwindling aid, Yemen now risks losing an entire generation of children. West Asia Bureau, WION World is One.